Hey everyone, Andrew, day 2 Dryden, recording here for day 2 MTG, and today we're going to try something a little bit different. We're going to play mono red burn in Modern. If this kind of hard-hitting burn content is what you enjoy seeing, maybe you just like aggro decks, you like playing lightning bolts, and you like playing Modern. That's primarily the content we make on this channel, so please make sure to subscribe. That way you don't miss it when I put out new videos. I'm going to be trying a new editing process this time. Nikachu met with me over the weekend, and we looked at some new editing software. So for that reason, I'm gonna chop this league up instead of the one video with all 5 games in the one video. We're going to try to do different episodes. So each game, each match in this league is going to be its own episode. I'm going to try and use the editing software that I've now got to make that happen. So with more frequent and smaller videos coming out, like I said, if this is the kind of content you enjoy, subscribing to the channel is going to be an easier way to keep on top of when those videos are published and made publicly available. One quick thing about this list as well before I forget, since the Skewer the Critics is all the way down here by its lonesome, it's kind of hard to see the list. I'm going to take this Arid Mesa out of the list so that everything except for that is visible here. But I'm going to put it back in for when I play round 1 and all those matches. So I played one league with this already. Before we go there, I'm really bad at remembering this. I gotta start remembering this. New patrons supporting the channel. Again, thank you so much to all the patrons. New ones from this, since the last league I published though. We have Jim Bending. Thanks, Jim. Much appreciated. And Francisco Ferreira. Thank you very much. The double F. F to pay respects, and you know what? F again for Ferreira. There we go. So, big thing about this is that I've been really looking at what's being played in Modern, and it looks like there's a lot of really greedy mana bases going on right now. A lot of really heavy multicolored mana bases, and there's other ones that are trying to use their lands as well, like Valakut, Scape Shift, things like that. So I really think that this list can sort of push the fact that we have 4 Blood Moons in it. Outside of that, the mana base is pretty straightforward. We still have fetchlands so that we can take advantage of Searing Blaze when we want to. And outside of that, we are playing with 6 of the Horizon lands. This might be incorrect. I might want a full 8 and then to cut down on either the fetchlands or the basics. It's probably better to actually... I'm trying to avoid sort of how much damage I have to take for my own mana base. That's, again, another one of the benefits of the mono red list. We're not running lightning helixes or anything, but when we're pretty much all we need is the mono red, or all we need is red mana for our spells, it's sort of how we can sort of negate that edge in the mirror match that we're losing. Okay, you know what? Sure. You know what the heck? I'm going to audible into that as well. Yeah, let's audible into that. Let's take out one of these and we'll add one of these. Okay, sure. Sounds great. Outside of that, we're playing our normal 1-drops, right? We still have access to all these spells. Really what we're losing is Lightning Helix and Boros Charm. So we still have all the 1-drops. These are all still here. I've added a Shard Volley to the main deck. Not a huge fan of Shard Volley all the time, but as a 1-of, it's a very strong. I'm not a fan of it as a 4-of. Drawing multiple copies of it, I don't know. But usually one copy is really strong against like almost any matchup you're playing against as a way to finish the game off, or if you really do have to interact on the early turns. So we're playing 4 Skullcracks in the main deck, although I've been doing that on my Boros list as well. Still playing with Eidolon, down to 3 Searing Blaze, but we are still using that. Because we don't have Boros Charm, having to find a little bit more power here in certain places. So this isn't an amazing card, but it's still pretty good. Instead of dealing 2 damage, instead of costing 2 mana, this is going to cost 3, but it is a way to deal 4 damage at instant speed and it has a similar to Skullcrack effect added onto it, where the players can't gain life until end of turn. It's a little bit different. It's funny, this is actually a little bit better with things like Lightning Helix than Skullcrack is. Skullcrack says no players can gain life this turn. Flames of the Blood Hand says that the player that we're hitting for 4 damage can't gain life this turn. So it's effectively the same thing, considering we're not playing our own Lightning Helixes, but who knows? It could come up, and when it says damage can't be prevented this turn, it's referring to this damage from this card, whereas Skullcrack stops all damage from being prevented until end of turn, so you can attack into a creature with protection from red, and if they block, you can potentially kill it in with combat damage. Also playing a couple copies of Light Up the Stage. Not the most explosive card usually with this deck, but it is a good way to fight through some of those grindy matchups. And again, it's a mono red card, so we need to sort of find playables to fill in, like I said, those 8 slots from Lightning Helix and Boros Charm. And because of that, we're again playing with 4 copies of Riftbolt and 4 copies with Scare the Critics. Still very serviceable cards. These aren't, I wouldn't call these necessarily a downgrade, but we're just kind of rounding out the numbers. In the sideboard, big thing about the sideboard for us is that we aren't going to have ways to remove protection from red creatures very easily, right? Normally we're using Path to Exile and things like that. So for that reason, I've got 2 copies of Reality Hemorrhage. It doesn't have to go against a pro-red creature or something like that. This is still, I would still bring this in against humans, anything like that. What else would I bring this in? Elves, any small creature deck. But I mean, the one that primarily is, running around right now is humans. And then in addition to that, we also have copies of Kozilek's Return, again, humans card, another way to fight through that. And you know what, I actually, sorry, I would also bring this in the mirror match, just in case they did have core firewalkers and things like that. Worst case scenario, it's a 2 mana spell that will either kill a Goblin Guide, an Eidolon, or fortunately, you can even just shoot them in the face with it. Again, we've got those Blood Moons. This is really sort of what this list is based around. We're trying to bring some Blood Moons in, have some fun by making sure our opponents don't have fun. Smash Smithereens and Shattering Spree to take care of artifacts and other I guess I shouldn't say other problematic cards. All they destroy is artifacts. But things like Wormcoil Engine. No one's really playing Chalice of the Void as much right now, but that's what this is for. The big difference between Shattering Spree and Smash Smithereens, the reason I'm not just playing 4 copies of Smash Smithereens is Shattering Spree is able to get through things like Chalice of the Void, although that's not seeing a ton of play at the moment compared to like a month ago. But it's also able to hit multiple things. So against things like Affinity or Hardened Scales Affinity, the ability, again, if they have a Ravager or something in play, it can make the targeting very tricky. It's also a sorcery, so you can't use it to kill things like an Inkmoth Nexus. But it is very, very good if you need to destroy multiple targets or force them to sack a bunch of things, right? So that's the whole point of this. It's sort of a value as a card advantage card against certain matchups. And then we do still have a little bit of artifact or a little bit of graveyard hate with our Relic of Progenitus. This could be Tormod's Crypt or something. In fact, you know what? 3 copies is a bit much here. I'm going to remove one of these and add a Tormod's Crypt. That's something I'd rather have. So we can't really see these very well right now, but there is still now, this is what the sideboard's going to look like. I like to have Relic of Progenitus if I have multiple different kinds of graveyard hate, because if I'm drawing multiple copies, chances are I'm now not drawing ways to close out and win the game. So the nice thing about Relic of Progenitus is if it's, the second or third, copy of Graveyard Hate that we're drawing, we are able to cycle it into a new spell. So there are a lot of ways to draw cards in this deck, between Light Up the Stage, these Fiery Islets, these Sunbaked Canyons, these Relics. There's a lot of ways for us to draw extra cards and sort of keep the gas going while still interacting with our opponent, hopefully. So yeah, like I said, I've only played 1 league with this list. It worked out pretty well. I think I went 3-2, and I think a couple of those games I lost, if I had just been able to draw those Blood Moons, would have totally shut the game shut our opponent out of the game. So hopefully we see some fun with that. Either way, though, this is still just a playable list. You can just go Goblin Guide into Eidolon, into Bolt. Like, this is still very playable. That's the thing. We're not just playing some total pile of junk while hoping to sort of scum people out of games here, right? Like, this is still an aggressive, fast burn list that opponents will have to respect. And in fact, there are some ways it might even be better, right? We have more sort of anti-life gain effects in the main deck, for goodness sake. So this is still very playable, and I think this, I don't know, it's going to be fun. It's going to be something different. If you want to mix things up, if you're tired of playing just the regular Boros burn list, you know, I would. This isn't a budget list. I'll say that. The Fiery Islets, the Sunbait Canyons, and the Goblin Guides are all still fairly expensive. And Blood Moon is, I think, still also about $20 American in paper right now. So I mean, this is not a budget list by any stretch of the imagination. But I mean, you don't need things like the Scalding Tarns, right? How many fetchlands are we running with that Arid Mesa? So 2, 4. So 7 fetchlands. So this is budget in a way for certain parts of it. But yeah, either way, I still think this is a different playable list, and I kind of want to experiment. I'm trying to figure out, you know, what I like in the modern format right now. So hopefully you agree. Hopefully you're interested in this. Hopefully you like the new editing format. Like I said, we're going to just do one match today, and I'm going to sort of try to get better using this new software. Thanks again to the new patrons. Overall, I'm really looking forward to playing this. This has been Andrew, Day 2 Dryden, and I will see you in round 1. All right, here we go in round 1. And this hand is great. Looks like just a great normal opening burn hand. Arid Mesa, a couple of creatures. We're keeping this hand. And yeah, really looking forward to this. This is going to be a very strong start. Yeah, our opponent will need... Our opponent's name is Nonbo. Well, I can appreciate that. Sometimes I feel like that's my whole deck. All right, let's see what Nonbo is playing. Are they trying to give me the fake out here? See if I click through my attack step. Hey, it wouldn't be the first time it's happened. Wouldn't be the first time. Nonbo has said, is this Andrew Nikachu's buddy? Nikachu is my buddy. Get it right. LOL. Alright, Nonbo, what are you playing? That's funny. Oh! Okay, Urza's mine. Well, this is a very strong hand against Tron. Nonbo likes my joke. Well, you should subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you're a subscriber of both Nikachu and myself. I do. They said, nice to play against you. Good luck. Same to you, Nonbo. Again, this is a good opening start for Tron here. But if you're not playing Eldrazi Tron, if you're just playing regular Tron, with this hand, I don't want to get too confident here because that's the times when I end up losing. But this is a very strong hand against Tron. Even just the Goblin Guide into the Swift Spear is significant. Oh, okay, well, that's almost a dead card. But what are you going to do? So I'll Swift Spear, and I'll probably just Rift Bolt, but we might as well get more information, so I'll attack first. A Forest. Okay. So yeah, I'm just going to fetch and then suspend a Rift Bolt. But I can't really think of what would have made me not do, like, what would have made me use the Lightning Bolt there. I guess maybe I would have... Yeah, there's not much. So, this is the first time in forever I'm not playing Merfolk. Alright, well, can't afford the Force of Negations. Those are very expensive. I might never play competitive Merfolk again online. just because of how expensive Force of Negation is. It's like 90% of the deck now. It's crazy. All right, so I don't want to chat too much. I am enjoying talking to people who watch the channel and whatnot, but oh, wow. Okay, well, that's obviously a fantastic draw. So we might even just have lethal here. Chromatic Star. Yeah. Is this lethal? Well, we're doing this regardless. Let me just do the math. 9. This is going to be 4. Oh, cool. They said they're just changing it up. They're using a rental service. Yeah, so we're just going to go for the win here. Just going to try to win. The only thing they might have is if they're playing main deck Weather the Storm. That would be a serious beating. Yeah, turn 3 win. Nice. Well, it was a very strong hand. Very strong. So, just saying to Nambo, I've thought about checking out those rental services before, but like I only ever have so much time to play things other than Burn and stuff, and I already own all these cards, so like there's no real point. Okay, so we don't want Searing Blaze. We definitely want the Blood Moons, although they're going to have access to green mana, which is whatever, but they won't get Tron. So if we're not going to bring in Blood Moon against in this matchup, like what are we even doing? We want the Smash Smithereens, obviously, and I didn't put in Shattering Spree. Shattering Spree is a good answer to a turn 1 like expedition map, but so on the draw, it is something I want to kind of consider, but I don't think it's really necessary. Here we don't need Light Up the Stage. That's not something we need, and I don't like Eidolon very much. So let's bring in a Shattering Spree for that, and then what are we at? 59 cards. Then yeah, okay, I'll keep a Light Up the Stage in then. So something like this. This is probably about what I want. Yeah. Okay. Submit deck. All right. So hopefully we just get a nice short match here, and I don't have to worry too much about using this new editing software and have to have this super long video to chop up. This hand is very strong. I can cast every single spell in my hand, and I've got 2 creatures. I think I'm going to keep this hand, but I mean, I have kept hands like this before, and it's just gone horribly wrong, right? So they're going to begin the game with 7 cards. Yeah, I'm going to keep. Goblin Guide into Swift Spear again. Like, it's just so strong. And they got the turn 1 star. Well, it's better than the turn 1 map. Okay, so now we just want to rip lands, obviously. That would be great. Hadn't thought of that, or hadn't thought about all the 3 mana cards I'm putting in. Okay, well, there's a power plant. So hopefully that's not the land they needed. Keep a hand with Tower and Mine, and then just get a power plant. Okay, well, they're looking. So what? Ancient Stirrings, probably. Play the power plant. Okay. Oh, and then Sylvan Scrying. Yep, that's strong. That's strong stuff. So, land. Wow. When you're good, you're good. So, how do we want to do this now? This is obviously getting played. There's no way to really play around them having Tron. So, I think what we have to do... We can't use Shard Volley because we want to cast our Blood Moon. As much as I want to use these bolts, I think that the worst thing that could happen is like a Worm Coil Engine next turn. Anything else I can pretty much beat, even just with Blood Moon here, if I can cast that. So I'm basically playing around the ability to hopefully cast this Blood Moon next turn. And the fact that Screw the Critics is kind of going to be... Well, okay, here, hold on. I think I just want to get the slow cards out of my hand as much as I can. I'm not super thrilled with the idea of this and sort of playing... like, part of me wants to just, like... matchups like this, sometimes you just want to race and win, right? But the fact that they're going to have turn 3 Tron... the way you usually lose these games is something like a worm coil engine, right? So trying to avoid that. I mean, there are ways around it. Yeah, okay, so here's the worm coil engine, right? And a star. So the way we do this is there's no good way to play around this. So I think what we have to do here is play out the Swift Spear. And then okay, so hold on. Okay. Right now I'm thinking about just using my creature as a blocker and then bolting my own creature before the worm coil can deal damage to it and gain life. So if we do that, and let's say they don't add like another worm coil engine to the board or something, that means that they're going to stay at 12. We're going to be at 17. But we get to untap, and we would have 12 damage. And we would have 12 damage in hand. So I think that's kind of how I have to do it, unfortunately. Yeah. And this is one of the problems with Blood Moon, is that, you know, it does just... Like, it doesn't... When you're on the draw, it doesn't come down in time, right? Like, it just doesn't. So... Tough. Tough here to give them... Oh, okay, well... And so now we're in the neighborhood where they can just go, like, Ulamog, exile both my lands. Like, it becomes really, really tough here. Okay. And... So we'll block with the guide... Okay. Bolt my own Goblin Guide. That's okay, I think. Ooh, maybe not. They have 6 mana. Oh wait, they just have the lock here now. Oh wait. Do they? Yeah, they do, because these... Okay, so the annoying thing here was that I hit the Goblin Guide because the Swift Spears get prowess triggers, so I was hoping going to make them like 3/3s next turn, or 3/4s. Whereas if I'd done it with the Goblin Guide, I actually would have 3 damage on the battlefield that I could just kill this Karn. That's frustrating. All right, well, technically we're not just dead yet, but we're pretty much just... We're pretty much going to lose here because we don't have a way to... I mean, I guess we'll see what else they're playing, but... Yeah, the fact that my Goblin Guide isn't on the battlefield is kind of frustrating. Because that means this Karn would be gone. So, well, what are you going to do there? That's too bad. Actually, if I'm them, I'm tempted to not even attack with the Worm Coil engine. Like, I can't do anything as long as this Karn's on the battlefield. Depends what else they have in their hand, obviously, but... I mean, I'm tempted to just start leaving Karn on the battlefield and let me not be able to cast any more spells. Okay, well, yeah, I mean, this game's over. I didn't play around Karn. I'll say that. Killing the Goblin Guide, you didn't play around Karn. Maybe that's something I should have thought of. Alright, Ballista. Alright, this game's over. Game's over. Alright, so did we see anything we didn't already know about? I don't think so. Everything's the same. It's just better on the play. Yep, alright, cool. And we even drew that land, too. We even top-decked that land. Like, oh, man. It's really frustrating when these, like, good matchups that you supposedly used to have are just, like, so tough. You know? Oh, my... Oh, why are you doing this to me, deck? Okay, we're on the draw. Again, like, this hand is great if we just draw a second land. Like, we're just going to win. Even without a second land. Like, we can just win. And we have Skullcrack. Yeah, I'm keeping this hand. Turn 1 Goblin Guide. I can't turn that away. Opponent kept 7 cards in their hand as well. All right, well, let's see what they have. But it would be really okay. All right, didn't draw them a land, but they kept 7 cards, so who knows if they even need it. Oh, okay. I think they almost clicked through their turn by accident. Wow. All right, well, if you watch this game, Nonbo, know that that was pure luck, and I'm just a total scumbag who just lucks out against most of his opponents, because that was pretty strong. So, yeah, and we even have the card to use with Skewer the Critics. Oh, that's strong. Yeah, like normally Skewer the Critics is a non-bow with Swiftspear. So here's the one thing. I could play around them having Weather the Storm. That's like the one thing that would make this very bad. However, if they don't have Weather the Storm in their hand right now... Actually, we might even just have Lethal. 3/6. That'll make those 3s. What is this? So 3, 6, 9, 12... We have Lethal if they don't have a life gain spell in hand. Not even a life gain spell. If they don't have specifically Weather the Storm, I've got a turn 3 kill. I don't think I can... They'll gain a lot of life here. if they have Weather the Storm. But, I mean, if they don't... All right, well, that's, I mean, wow. Like, we drew the land right where we needed to. I don't think, yeah, so Weather the Storm would have gained them 9 life, I think. Yeah, I think it would have gained them 9 life. So they would have gone to 9. Means they wouldn't have used Expedition Map on that turn. Next turn, like, we would have, I think it would have been hard for them to come back even if they had it. Like, Goblin Guide into Double Swiftspear on the play is just so hard for this deck to beat. And again, that's how this deck used to feel. But now they're playing like 4 or 3 or 4 main deck Wormcoil engines with the London Mulligan. They're able to find the Tron pieces way more frequently, so it's pretty tough. And this new card, I forget what it's called. This new card from Throne of Eldraine, this new, like, the free Ancient Stirrings, basically, is also really, really hard, is going to, I think, make things even more consistent. So, either way, though, we went up against a good matchup, traditionally, and we were able to get strong draws, and forget strong opening hands. Those top decks were just amazing. So, lucky draws there, too. So, this has been Andrew, Day 2 Dryden. Please subscribe to the channel. Thanks again to all those patrons. Hopefully, let me know what you think about the new editing format, because I think I would rather have them be 1 game videos rather than those giant 5 game videos. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope to see you again. And this has been Andrew, Day 2 Dryden. I will see you next time.